Annie here. I've been wanting to do a video which is kind of like an extended vlog on the whole concept of one little thing, one little thing. I'm not claiming ownership to it. I was inspired by Jackie Dubois when it comes to this. Does Jackie know, really know, what a difference she makes to so many of us? It's my interpretation, where I've gone, with what she's doing, with having a notion of the things that she wants to accomplish in a day's time. But where she and I are going to be very, very different is, and she'll be the first to say this, I think, isn't it her Gemini self that doesn't sit still well? She's busy for the day. On the other hand, I could sit still all day long, which is really my introduction to why the one little thing has meant so much to me. I think because of the challenges I had in the fall and into the early part of winter this year, the health challenges, I kind of took to my chair and became a bit of a couch potato. Not really a normal thing for me, but that's where I went. I wasn't doing it consciously. That's what's so sneaky about that kind of thing. It's insidious. I just kind of went there and didn't get back up and going. I did what had to be done, but kind of like drifted when it came to a lot of things, whether it was my personal studies, my writing and the proofreading I'm doing for publication, being creative in the kitchen, even just taking care of the house became like I did what had to be done, the minimal. And that was it. And Jackie's blogs really have inspired me. Let's just say they came right at the time at which I kind of saw myself from outside looking in and didn't quite like what I was seeing. I'm somebody who never has been hyperactive and over busy, but I've also not been someone who wasted time. In fact, it's actually against my spiritual beliefs to waste time. Every little moment of our life is sacred, leading to the next sacred moment in our lives. So where my thoughts went, inspired so much by Jackie, was to settle down in the morning, think about the day that's coming up, and make like a little list of little things. Not in order of how I think they should be done, not even with an understanding that they all need to be done. Insofar, there's no given day, which they have all been done. But a sense of, if I did some of these things today, at the end of the day, I'd feel the day was well spent. I'd feel like I was spending the moments of my life well. So I decided to get myself out and buy myself a brand new shiny journal that didn't have a single word written in it. And this is what I got. I liked it because there's something very oceany and seashell-y about it, even though it's not meant to be either. And it's comfortable enough to hold without being heavy. I don't think I'll run out of writing pages for a while. So I kind of devoted it. Let me get that under the light for you better. It says one little thing. Really? As a reminder to me that I've devoted myself to something. Something about this journal that I really liked, and maybe everybody else has journals like this, but I've not seen it before. At the top of the page, of each page, all the months go across the top, and then it goes 1 to 31. So you don't have to start your day's journaling out by writing the date, which, I don't know, I've always done it, but I'm finding I really like not doing it now. It makes the journal feel more fluid without these abrupt stop, 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 because that's really not how our life goes, is it? But do you have a journal like this? Can you see the top page? It's really cool. So then what you do is, whatever day you're writing, you just circle it. circle the month and the date. There's my little journal trivia. So I thought to give you a sense of what one little thing means to me. Then I would read my first day's work of journaling. And I began it with New Year, new thoughts. Well, not really. It is, after all, the 24th. But surely I can declare the beginning to be any time of my choosing. And so it shall be. Look at me writing in color. Check this out. If the colors will even show up, writing in all different colors. So I wrote, look at me writing in color. The original yearly mantra I had in mind this year was living in color. I felt I'd fallen into a gray place. I remained devoted to that. That's not changed, but now with a new twist. One little thing, one little thing. For months my theme song could well have been Where Have All the Moments Gone? I get in the habit, the rut, the whatever, of letting time go by. I know better. A life well frittered is not a life well lived. Did I go into forget mode? Or not caring mode? Oh, whatever. It was not a place I needed to stay. I guess I needed to be there for a while, but I didn't need to stay. And I still need to reflect regarding why I went so willingly there. That's for another day. For now, it's about coloring the little things, sometimes within the lines. I'd call some of the necessary tasks of the day that, for instance, cleaning the bathroom or going on poop patrol. They feel very much coloring that needs to be done within the lines. Prescribed, set, something that must be done and maybe even must be done in a certain way. But why not consider even those moments as possibility? Adding color and texture. Taking the gray out of what might seem monotonous and adding depth to the mundane. Because in the end, all those little things, in or out of the box, are sacred. I'll have to work on that for sure, but the Picard in me will make it so. Wait, no. He was all about telling others to make it so. So I will be Picard, declaring it will be done. And I will also be the red shirt. That reference perhaps only to be understood by classic Trekkies. The red shirt, who will do the work of getting it done. One little thing. One little thing. With deep appreciation for Jackie Dubois for challenging me, us, to think of the passing of the moments in our days as an endless series of possibilities. Every single one sacred. I wonder if she knows how much she makes a difference. Then again, do any of us really? The point of making it so, in the end, is valuing each moment, each little thing in our lives as sacred. It comes down to awareness, after all. If we are in any instance the audience to our lives, what do we see? Who are we in any moment? And what are we in relation to? Who are we in relation to in that moment? And do we like what we see? Do we even see? Do we see and then ignore? Or fail to care? It seems to me it's not so much about the doing, although the power of feeling its sense of accomplishment is real and true. It's about choosing to be engaged in our living. If that means stepping back and witnessing ourselves and then witnessing to ourselves every now and then, so be it. And actually, perhaps so it must be. But that awareness needs to be from a place of self-love, guilt-free, an act of celebration. One little thing, one little thing. I'm quite sure it will be more easily done than said. The day will start because this feels like a rising to the day energy to me, with my rainbow pens in hand, looking forward to the turning of the upcoming hours, and declaring some of that turning's little things. Here in my journal, just as the energetic tide of the day begins. What will I devote myself to in this tiny turning within the greater turnings of my life? Is this a to-do list? Me gads, it is not. Horror of horrors. Exclamation points to infinity and beyond. Is it a seriously considered tool for focus? Ditto to the egads, no. I had last a day of consideration of one little thing was a kind of structure, and setting myself up for failure, frustration, and a certain amount of guilt for what doesn't get done or what I chose to do instead. In the end, it's a devotional. Simple as that. A devotional to the power and possibility of the little things. At the end of the day, I'll append to my journal a little moment of reflection on what was manifest from my list, and to observe what was unmanifested. Not to give myself a daily pass-fail. Yeah, that's another egads no. But to sit with the day and observe how I chose and chose not to spend it. To notice opportunities and challenges, and to determine how colorfully I chose to pass the time. Some things on my one little thing list for a day will move on to the next day. I'll also have the opportunity to make kind of notes in the margin of the notable little things and tiny moments that end up being the beads in the sacred necklace of my day. A lot of them I'm quite sure will not have been planned. So what I did is I started my first one little thing list. I actually wrote it in my book, and I put a square next to those things that are the things I think of as coloring inside the box. The things I had on my list for the first day for coloring inside the box were taking down the Christmas decorations, typing up dinner club minutes, that's a responsibility I have here in community, and paying the electric bill. I also had in my one little thing list on that first day, starting my journal, the one I'm sharing with you, making dinner, getting outside, out and about, and preparing for my delayed full moon ritual. The snow that we had kept me from getting together with my sister. My moon sister, who I celebrate them with, are actually getting together a bit late. So here's the thing, back to reading from my journal. And this is after the end of the day, looking back on my list of little things. Here's the thing. I get extra credit for the little things with boxes that I did because they're about coloring between the lines. Don't I? I'm pretty sure I get extra credit for doing them. I wanted to make the list longer when I was setting it up in the morning. For instance, I wanted to add doing my one little thing video. This video. Doing my vlog. I wanted to write in black and white. I have to admit, writing in color was difficult for me. Every time I picked up a different color pen, it was like it just shifted me into another place. And then I remembered, well, each paragraph is a celebration of yet another little thing, a little moment we're capturing in time. I am very grateful for my erasable gel pens. So those of you who are familiar with the work I'm doing in my Book of Shadows know that. This is the FriXion erasable gel pens. You know, writing in your journal or your grimoire or anything that you're keeping with all the messiness that can happen. My nice, tidy Libran self really loves those erasable gel pens. But I had to laugh at myself. I would make an error writing in my book, use the end of the gel pen to erase the ink, and then I would brush off eraser crumbs that didn't exist because of going back to when I was a child, flashbacks to childhood, using a rubber eraser. Interestingly, I noticed that the one color in my inks that's too pale for me to write with is the color gray. Yeah, I don't know if you can read that, but actually it's there, and it says there's a lesson to be learned in that. Yep, the first day went pretty darn good, if I might say so, and I'm not the least concerned about what didn't get done, except for those Christmas decorations, that is. I didn't get them done. In fact, I'm sitting here looking at the Christmas tree still. I got 2 of the boxed items done, the coloring in between the lines that I might not have done otherwise. And I've been procrastinating about them. I expanded paying the electric bill into, oh wow, and I just balanced the checkbook while I'm here. I did spend a couple of hours outside hanging with my honey and then went out to dinner, which is why making dinner didn't end up checked. But it was nice to get off the neck. That's the strip of land that we live on that has been flooding in the high tides recently, and you're kind of stuck here, not being able to get off. It was nice to get out and go someplace for a while. I got half of the full moon ritual written. I'll finish it off today. It's just a matter of pulling bits and pieces together from things I already have. I did get bits and bytes edited and uploaded to YouTube, so I kind of got to add to my list some of the things that I did that weren't on my list. But there are things that I won't plan, things that will just happen when they happen. I like getting up the Bits and Bytes blogs, though, because I'm meeting some interesting people, meeting some new people that way. And it does count as a stringing together of one little thing after another. And added to the list is, I guess we can't always predict ourselves. As I settled down with my journal at the end of the day, I realized I liked ending the day with the next day's list. So that stuff I wrote earlier about doing it in the morning, I misjudged myself. I like being able to open my book freshly to the next day, to what I had planned on the night before. It just kind of felt like I don't know how to pre-launch to the day that way. Oh, not that I didn't make changes. So that was my first day's blog in my nice new journal for one little thing. One little thing. It's done me good. I find that my instinct is to get the silly things inside the boxes done first, and to have a better attitude about doing them. And then to move on to the more fun things on my list. I also realized I have no room to complain because most things on my list are enjoyable, which is really going to make me stop and think about where I had wandered to over a 3-4 month period of time in my life when I wasn't feeling quite myself. And I continually remind myself that it's not about one little thing. It's about one little thing, one little thing. It's about the power of when one sacred moment passes, you're already in the next sacred moment. One little thing, etc., etc. So I hope you've enjoyed hearing a little bit more about what I'm up to when it comes to my journaling. Heartfelt thanks again to Jackie for inspiring me to stop and think about the moments of my day. I don't have a list like hers at the end of my day of accomplishments. I do things a lot slower than she does, for physical reasons and some other things. Distractions like today. neighbors stopping by a couple different times to visit. A couple of my hours of my day that weren't on my one little thing became sacred little things. At least they got a good laugh at seeing that the holiday decorations are still up in our household. This is going to be a good tool for me to stop and think and cherish my life. I'd slipped into these retirement moments in my life as if now that there's no pressure on me to do certain things at certain times and meet endless deadlines, that I was letting things then just slide, thinking, oh, there's plenty of time. And unbeknownst to me, time was slipping through my hands. This is helping me enjoy the things in the boxes, and it's also quite the celebration at the end of the day to check off that I've done something purely enjoyable. And now, when I turn off the video camera, I get to check off making my video about one little thing, one little thing. I wish you all mirth and reverence. Merry part.